It's been over 13 whole years since Heavy Rain was released for PlayStation 3 on February 23, 2010. Before the game came out, I was hyped. In fact, this game was one of the driving factors into my purchase of the Sony PlayStation 3. Funny, considering the game was originally intended to be an Xbox exclusive, a console that I already owned at the time. Heavy Rain was a landmark of legendary game creator David Cage's career, following the success of 2005's Fahrenheit and 1999's Nomad's Soul. When Heavy Rain came out, it was considered to be way ahead of its time in terms of both its graphics and narrative. Even years before being officially released, previews of Heavy Rain's gameplay and graphics were being touted as the next generation of gaming and storytelling. Similar to its predecessor, Heavy Rain's plot is shrouded in mysteries and secrets that the player attempts to unravel throughout the game. The script that David Cage wrote for the game was over 2,000 pages. Considering that an average movie screenplay is around 100 pages, it's no wonder Heavy Rain has one of the deepest stories we've seen in a video game. Even after completion, the player is left with more questions than answers. Over the years since its release, the fans have pieced together various information and theories regarding the true nature of the game's plot. It isn't very often that a game provokes such profound intrigue in an audience, especially in a game with an essentially linear story. It's almost as if the story's major themes of mystery, intrigue, the fear of the unknown while being drawn towards it, are reflected in the fans' seemingly limitless desire to keep chasing the trail of breadcrumbs left by David Cage. And let's be clear, there are many subtle clues to the story's true nature hidden within the game, things that can be easily missed, even on repeated playthroughs. For example, the blackouts that Ethan Mars has right before his son is kidnapped, which some fans theorize are actually part of the original, far more paranormal plot of the game. Most players fail to realize the subtle purpose behind significant plot elements, such as Madison's insomnia, which is actually caused because she is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Madison was once severely traumatized years before the events of Heavy Rain when she worked as a combat war reporter. Or consider, if you will, the symbolic significance of balloons. Why would a clown be hanging out in a mall selling balloons? That's like a thing you would see a kid walk around with in a Saturday morning cartoon, not a real-life modern shopping mall. No, the balloon motif has a deeper meaning. Some speculate that it represents the fleeting nature of youth, which, like a balloon, can easily drift away with the wind. Other fans think that David Cage is merely French and was unfamiliar with what amenities an American shopping mall furnishes at the time the script was written. Some fans even theorize the game actually takes place within the universe of David Cage's previous game, Fahrenheit, and may even be a sequel. As you can see, there's a vast amount of material that fans have debated and made theories about over the years. Who could have thought that 13 years after Heavy Rain's release, fans would still be discussing the depths of this game and the secrets hidden within? And with everything that's been happening in the Heavy Rain community lately, it comes as no surprise that the fans would finally be close to finding out the truth of one of Heavy Rain's biggest and most controversial unsolved mysteries. A mystery that the fans simply refer to as 2CT. In the opening chapter of Heavy Rain, you play as Ethan Mars, who wakes up in bed one late April morning at 11:22 a.m. The numerology here is already quite interesting to many in the Heavy Rain community. This is the part of the game that teaches the player how to move the character around and perform basic actions. The player is tasked with having Ethan take a shower and then get dressed, but there are plenty of other optional interactions to choose from. Eventually, Ethan will head downstairs. At this point, you, the player, are given free reign with countless interaction options, ranging from playing with a remote control car to getting some work done. It is here we find out Ethan's profession is architecture, although a well-trained eye may have spotted books inside of Ethan's bedroom, giving subtle hints of this. In fact, if the player decides to step outside into Ethan's backyard on this sunny and perfect day, you will see he clearly lives in a very modern home that he possibly may have designed himself. Eventually, Ethan's wife and 2 sons arrive home, and you're tasked with setting up the table for one of his 2 sons' birthday parties. This will become important later. One of the optional interactions during this level is getting a drink from the refrigerator. As you open the fridge to take a drink of orange juice, you can actually see a birthday cake in the fridge. This subtle piece of environmental storytelling actually shows the player that this birthday party was planned long before the player ever took control of Ethan Mars. The quick interaction with the fridge may seem meaningless to the untrained eye, but it is actually the most important bit of information relating to the mysterious 2CT. When the player makes Ethan open up the fridge, we can clearly see his son's birthday cake. But there's something else visible in the fridge for a few short moments. Take a look. Did you catch it? A second cake. I myself spotted this particular curiosity when casually rewatching some scenes from the game not long ago. When I saw that second cake, I was baffled. Why was there another cake? Ethan Mars has 2 sons, so most fans originally assumed they were twins, and the second cake was for his other son. But that actually turned out to be untrue. Ethan's sons are not twins. Sean Mars was born June 9th, 2001. June 9th is also the birthday of the game's creator, David Cage. Jason Mars was born April 20th, 1999, the same day that the infamous Columbine massacre occurred. These dates are clearly significant and are not chosen at random. This opening chapter of Heavy Rain takes place on April 20th, 2009, Jason's 10th birthday, which also happens to be nearly 2 months away from his brother's birthday. So why does he have 2 cakes prepared? What did they mean by this? I had to know more, so I did what anyone would do. I dusted off my PlayStation 3 and my copy of Heavy Rain, and I spent hours scouring over the one and only moment in the entire game that we get to see this second cake. But this simply wasn't good enough. I needed to get close. I needed to get deeper. I needed to uncover the secret of the second cake. I spent many hours researching and looking through old forum posts, searching for clues. Even though I had only just discovered this unique mystery, it seems to have been baffling fans ever since the release of the game. After days of searching, eventually I made a breakthrough that could possibly shed new light on the 2 cakes, the debug mode. This mode allows you to move the camera anywhere you want, thus allowing me to finally analyze the cake in detail. But accessing debug mode wasn't as easy as you might think. I had to search through some extremely obscure and now long gone PS3 forums just to find the information I needed to enable the debug mode. Most websites or videos that showcase this rare debug mode lack any information on how to activate the mode or how to control its menus, almost as if this is secret knowledge that only a select few game modders are willing to talk about. Eventually, I did locate the correct memory values within the PlayStation needed to activate the mode, as well as a full list of the controls. Applying these values was another whole process of research, which I eventually did figure out. Finally, I had access to the mythical Heavy Rain debug menu. And of course, the first thing I did was take a look at that second cake. For the first time after all these years of theories and speculation, Heavy Rain fans are one step closer to solving the mystery of the two cakes. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the second cake. So now we clearly know this second cake is no normal cake, but a second birthday cake. Many fans have speculated that this second cake wasn't a cake at all. This was actually a major divide in the Heavy Rain fandom for years. But now that theory can finally be put to rest. This is a cake, a proper birthday cake no less. However, this may create more questions than it solves. For one, the first cake clearly has "Happy Birthday, Jason" written on it. But the second cake simply says "Happy Birthday." The second cake isn't addressed to anyone else, which is certainly going to give ammo to the group of fans who have theorized it being a cake for another family member. Some fans claim the second cake might actually be for a different family member whose birthday is shortly after Jason's. But the only character in Heavy Rain whose birthday is even close to Jason's is Susan Bowles on April 25th. Some fans have speculated Susan being a family friend, but I find it completely unlikely. First of all, her birthday is 5 whole days away, and it's far too early for that cake to have been made just that morning, which means by the time her birthday comes around, the second cake would already be almost a week old. Another reason that theory never held much water with the Heavy Rain community is because Susan Bowles' son was the last victim of the origami killer, right before Sean. Both families knowing each other would be extremely unlikely, and certainly doesn't fit the MO of the killer. The only other possibility that fits this theory is the fact that the second cake is for a character we don't ever see, such as Ethan or his wife Grace's parents. Most other Heavy Rain fans believe in the theory that the second cake is merely an extra cake for Jason's birthday. The common argument made is typically held as the current answer to this mystery. This group claims that this second cake is extra for Jason's friends that are coming over later, as stated many times in the game. Proponents of this theory also sometimes claim that the second cake is simply an ice cream cake, as sometimes wealthier families will have a normal cake and an ice cream cake for their children's birthday parties. But because we can see the second cake was already in the refrigerator after Ethan Mars woke up, that means it is extremely likely that the cake would have been in there since the night before at least. And if it was an ice cream cake, it surely would have melted by the time Jason's friends arrived later that day. However, I believe I have finally discovered evidence to completely throw this theory out the window. I know this will make the party cakers, as they call themselves, very upset with me, but when new information like this comes to light, sometimes it's better to just swallow your pride in order to help the community come together as a whole to put an end to this mystery. Using the debug mode FreeCam feature, I was able to see both cakes up close and personal. The most important thing here isn't actually the cakes, it's the cartons of orange juice. Now I know what you're thinking. What on earth does orange juice have to do with cake? They don't even go together. Well, you might be right thinking that, but it isn't so simple. It is actually quite complex. You see, cartons of orange juice are pretty much the exact same size, a little less than 4 inches. Looking at the refrigerator from the side, we discover that the sides of one of the orange juice cartons is exactly in line with the center of each cake. Using this knowledge, we can now use simple ratio math to discover the actual size of each cake. I use 3 3/4 inches as my baseline for the sides of an orange juice carton. With this, I have discovered the actual size of the main cake. The cake that reads "Happy Birthday, Jason" is in fact a large 14-inch diameter birthday cake. But here is where the real mystery starts to unravel. The elusive second cake turns out to be only 10 inches. This is a truly profound discovery, and I'm extremely excited to finally share it with the wider Heavy Rain community in this video. Knowing the exact size of the cakes opens up an entire new discussion, and personally, I actually think it puts to rest the widely accepted party caker theory. You see, a 14-inch cake could be cut into at least 16 very generous slices. Slices so large that most 10-year-old children simply wouldn't be able to finish them. That means that if each member of the Mars family eats one slice of cake, there would still be a minimum of 12 slices left for Jason's friends to enjoy. Is it really realistic to think that a 10-year-old boy would have 12 friends over to his tiny house for his birthday, on a Monday nonetheless? Even if this is true, again, these extremely generous serving sizes easily cover the cake supply for a minimum of 12 extra guests. And on top of that, not every guest is going to want a piece of cake to begin with. Grace Mars is actually seen unloading multiple boxes of cookies when she arrives home with groceries. It is assumed that these would be for the guests at the party as well. Her groceries mainly consist of basic items. Clearly, she isn't planning a grand meal of sorts, and the refrigerator is pretty empty, so maybe they'll also order pizza. There's also a matter of space. If 12 guests came to the party, would there actually be room for any of them? The Mars family home is actually quite tiny, and the fact that Ethan's office and most of the upstairs would be closed off to guests makes the area even smaller. Sure, they have a reasonably sized backyard, but this is likely the area that the kids would be playing in. The parents are certainly more likely to want to stay inside and mingle with the other adults. Using this info, we can determine that certainly there are not that many people coming over to this house, and that even if 5 friends came over, each bringing both parents, then there would still likely be leftover cake just from the first cake. In my opinion, this pretty much rules out that the second cake was for the party. As we can clearly see, this party could not have possibly been large enough to merit the need for a second cake. There would obviously be leftover cake from the first cake alone, without anyone ever even eating a single slice of the second cake. But that is just my speculation. The true nature of the second cake may never be known. But the more possibilities we can rule out, the closer we as fans will get to the truth of this incredible mystery. Clearly, this second cake was added on purpose by the developers, as the asset is never actually used anywhere else in the game. That alone proves that the second cake carries significant meaning. Why would such a high-quality asset be created just to be hidden away in this one optional interaction scene? Perhaps the meaning is more symbolic, representing the canon of David Cage's games, with Heavy Rain actually being the second cake itself. Or maybe Heavy Rain is a third cake, and the 2 cakes in the refrigerator represent David Cage's first 2 games. Maybe you find deep significance in the second cake, as I do. Others prefer to see it as an intentional red herring placed by the game's creators. Whatever the case, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that the fact that fans have continued to debate about this second cake truly stands as a testament to the depths that Heavy Rain's story has to offer, and solidifies its place in the legacy of narrative-based video games. Maybe one day in the future, the Heavy Rain data mining community will discover some more evidence about the elusive second cake. But for now, this is everything that I'm able to share with you. If we're lucky, maybe David Cage himself will one day weigh in on the topic. But that is extremely wishful thinking. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you get subscribed because next week I'll have a video actually explaining in detail how to activate the debug menu in Heavy Rain.